everybody, and welcome to Cine-Picks. I'm Kevin, and this is Michaela, and today it was Michaela's turn to pick the movie for me to watch. So, Michaela, what movie do you want me to watch? What was your Cine-Pick for this week?
So this week, my Cine-Pick for you, Kevin, was the Tommy Wiseau one and only movie classic, The Room.
Yes.
The Room.
All
Picked
right.
this for you because I had a group of dudes back when I was in college that were like talking about The Room in one of the lobby areas, and I tuned in and I was like, I've never seen that. I've heard a lot about it. And they were like, "You've never seen The Room? You need to watch The Room." And it just started a weird obsession for bad movies. So yeah.
Yeah, and so I've heard about The Room. I've known about it for a long time. Here's the thing. I don't know really what we're going to talk about today because there's not much else to talk about with The Room. It's been such a thing for the past, I guess almost 20 years now, and there was a movie made about the making of The Room, and that was supposedly very accurate. This came out, so I have seen The Disaster Artist. I have not seen The Room, mostly because I don't feel like I needed to see The Room. Because I already know everything there is to know about The Room. I know everything about the production of The Room. I know everything of, I already know all of the quotes. I know, I feel like I've already seen The Room. And, this week watching The Room, I'm like, I've seen this already. Even though I haven't actually sat down and watched The Room, I've already seen it. And so that's why I'm like, I don't know what we're going to talk about today because, what else can we say about The Room? So I'm interested.
I know.
Yeah.
And it's one of those that's like, it's hard to talk about because it's literally like every single moment of the movie is something to be criticized. Like, I feel the same way with Love on a Leash because there actually, in theory, is so much to talk about.
Yeah.
But the problem is that it's already been covered and talked about so much by other reviewers, either talking about like the background of The Room or like why The Room is a bad movie. There's a lot of content out there, but still, I wanted you to watch it in full because it's one of those things that's difficult to talk about, but it's like you have to just see it. You have to watch it because it is an experience in and of itself. Also, he has found, my cat has found Euphoria now. His head is like in my hand. He is. I wish I could show you right now.
Yeah.
If it's too loud, I can move him, but he is like, he's just.
He sounds like a frog. I don't know, over the video call, it sounds like, like the nighttime sounds of like a frog in the distance. And that's what he sounds like right now. So it's strangely relaxing. I don't know.
Okay, that's good that we can keep it in because he's just here.
So The Room. What? So.
Oh, I have to ask you. So Kevin,
yes.
If you could define just the story of The Room, like the plot of The Room, what would you say The Room is about?
So The Room is about the loving relationship or unloving relationship between Lisa and, remind me what Tommy's character's name is? Johnny.
Yes.
Okay, so it's the relationship between Lisa and Johnny, and also between Lisa and Johnny's friend Mark. Lisa, she's just, I don't know, I feel like she is self-destructive, a good word to describe her. Anyways, she's in a perfect relationship with Johnny. Johnny loves her, does everything for her. It's great. He buys her cars, they move in together, he buys her clothes, buys her everything she wants. And Lisa wants to leave. She's like, I'm done with this is boring. I want some adventure, I guess. That's what's going on in her mind. I'm going to cheat on you with Johnny. No, with Mark. I will cheat on Johnny with Mark. Johnny's best friend. So not even just like some random guy. Like she goes like she goes like top level. I will cheat on you with your best friend. You know, like so that's what I'm saying, like self-destructive. There is no way this could ever end well. And it doesn't end well. So she goes on this thing, and she's constantly trying to. Well, I don't know. Anyways, in the end, yeah. Well, in that's basically what the plot is around. It's around, yeah, Lisa trying to get with Mark, behind Tommy's back, but she's like super open with it with everybody except for Tommy. She tells everybody. Everybody knows except for Johnny. So, anyways, but then finally, when Johnny finds out, and everybody tells her this is bad news, Johnny, he's not gonna be able to handle this. Yeah, when he finds out, he kills himself, shoots himself right in the mouth. Yeah, there you go. The end. Yeah.
Pretty much. Don't forget about there's also two weird side plots in this movie as well. That a lot of people don't actually talk nearly enough about because I think it's funny.
Yeah.
There is the side character called Denny.
Yeah.
He's like this college-age kid, who's like one of their neighbors, but also like Johnny's adoptive son.
Yeah.
And he gets into this weird thing where like he gets caught selling drugs, and the drug dealer comes and tries to kill him like twice.
Yeah.
Or something.
So, Denny.
So that's,
yeah, Denny
that's a
is.
side plot.
Yeah, Denny is the character. I feel like that makes this movie the bizarre movie that it is. If it weren't for Denny, it would just be a bad movie, right? But Denny is the bizarre piece of the puzzle that doesn't fit anywhere, that doesn't contribute to the story at all, but is a constant presence throughout the entire thing. He doesn't fit anywhere. He's so weird. He is the strangest person. Just his dialogue that he has, everything he does. So that's where I feel like he is the reason why this movie is the legend that it is. Like not really like Tommy Wiseau. His performance, it's awkward, it's weird. The dialogue, the Tommy Wiseau that he wrote is also awkward and weird. But the character Denny is just so bizarre. The fact that that this is where you start to question, was this written and directed by a human being or some alien from another planet?
Right.
That's the Danny character, because this right away, Danny shows up and you have no idea who he is. The first 2 or 3 scenes that Danny appears in, you have no idea who he is. He's this kid who shows up right as Lisa and Johnny are about to get down and dirty. Danny shows up and Johnny's like, I'm gonna go take a nap, wink wink, and Lisa's like, I think I'll join you, wink wink, and Danny's like, can I come too? It's like whatever, and they're like, no, you can't come. And so they go upstairs and they're getting ready to they're getting ready, it's very obvious what they're going to do. And then Danny comes in, he's sneaking up the stairs and he's just watching them. And then, right as, Lisa and Johnny are about to start getting intimate, Danny's like, dog pile, wow! Gets in the middle of it, And then he's just like, I just like to watch you guys. And I'm like, who wrote that? Why is this? Yeah.
I have to wonder if maybe Denny is the only one. I feel like Denny must have, on some level, been written deliberately to be kind of weird.
Yeah.
Because I feel like other characters are weird because of the acting performances and because of the way that Tommy Wiseau directed them to do that. But I feel like if you were to just read through the script, all of them seem like kind of mundane, boring kind of
Yeah.
characters, except for Denny. Denny's just written weird, and he's acted weird accordingly.
Yeah.
It's
That is he is
interesting.
yeah. If it weren't for Denny, it would just be a bad movie. It would not be the cult film that it is. You know, because like Denny's the one who wants to play football all the time, and he's like, and by play football I mean pass a football from like 5 feet away, like just literally they're in an alleyway and they're just passing a football to each other, and you know, and then there's I think Chris is the other guy who's always hanging out in the apartment. You know, like there's a scene where Chris he's telling Tommy about the awkward situation he had with Lisa's mom, where he left his underwear in the apartment. You know, like it's a really stupid story, has nothing to do with anything, doesn't go anywhere. And then after that, it must have been some sort of improv moment where they're like, let's pass the football around. Because the dialogue that they have is very, like, ad-libbed and, like, awkward and not, like, it was definitely not written. Like, they're just trying to, like, make something up, improvised. It was,
It's all the time.
yeah. And so, and, but, like, then he's like, hey, Chris, you want to play football? And he's like, no, I don't want to play football. He's like, come on, let's play football. Come on, yeah. You know, everyone's like, come on, Chris, let's play football. And Chris like, okay, I'll play with you. And so then they just pass the football in a circle, you know, and just awkward silence. That, like, obviously, like, it was written in the script, you know, pass the football around, but there was, like, no dialogue. And, yeah, so the scene starts, and they're just passing the football around. No dialogue. And then you can feel like maybe the actors were feeling really awkward. And so they had to, like, say something. And so they're, like, and so now they're, like, trying to, like, well, maybe we'll talk about the underwear story or something. I don't know. Like, but it's, like, the most awkward scene ever. But they're just passing the football around. And, like, it was so important to Denny that they play football. You know, that they just, but really, like, they're just passing the football.
The funniest thing is that is actually, I'm so glad that you brought that up. That is probably my favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah.
Even more than, like, you're tearing me apart, Lisa.
Yeah.
And, like, oh, hi, doggy. Like, even though, like, that is probably my favorite scene because it's the best scene in the movie.
Yeah.
Because it's not written. Because it's, like, even though it's awkward as all get out, like, it's at least them trying to come up with lines that sound human.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm sure that you saw reviews for this movie, and all of the reviews on YouTube and all of the written reviews will reference one original review that says that this movie feels like a movie. That this movie feels like a movie that was written by a man that was told his entire life what movies were, but never saw one.
Yeah.
So it's this movie, a script that was produced, like, by a bot. So it's like all this stuff theoretically on paper sort of makes sense, but when you film it, it's just like, it's like the characters don't have any objectives.
Yeah.
They don't have any reasons for, like, there's not really a plot. Like, it's just characters kind of just doing things. Like, and then things just happen. Actually, things don't even happen to them. I think that's the funniest thing about this. Like, there are no external problems in this movie.
Yeah.
It's all them creating their own problems and then themselves reacting to the problems that they have manufactured.
Yeah.
For themselves. which is what's so weird.
Yeah, and that's why I say, like, Lisa's character is self-destructive. Like, she's creating her own problems when she decides she's going to start seeing Mark. Like, that's, you know, she goes and sees her fiance's best friend and says, like, you know, have an affair with him and, like, cheats on Johnny. Like, that's, you know, like, there's no reason why she could go with, like, the situation would not be nearly as bad if she basically picked any other guy. she picks the worst possible. Not saying that Mark is the worst guy, but he's the worst choice to cheat on, like, or to cheat with. It's
really bad. And like even worse that they don't really explain why Lisa is the way that she is.
Mm-hmm.
Because it would I'm never gonna say that cheating is okay,
Yeah.
you know, or a justifiable way of coping with your issues. But if we learned a little bit more about why Lisa is doing this, other than the fact that she thinks that Johnny is boring and she doesn't love him anymore,
Mm-hmm.
like if if she had a backstory, like I don't know, maybe she grew up in poverty and so she just really she doesn't love Johnny, but she wants to be with him because she's so afraid of what's going to happen to her
Yeah.
financially. Or I don't know if Lisa, I don't know, maybe she has like some kind of weird self-destructive fear of like being loved. And so she can't accept the love from Johnny, and therefore she feels like she has to be in control by being with Mark. I don't know. Either
Yeah.
of us could write a better script than what is in this movie.
Right. Yeah. That's the thing. We start in the middle of this, where, or at least it's we have not seen we haven't seen Lisa's decision making process. We have no idea why she does the things she does. She just does it.
And she's also not consistent,
mm-hmm.
which is what bothered me. Like watching the movie again, like I always thought that like Lisa was kind of like the worst person ever.
Yeah.
But actually, I was like watching it again, she makes some good points. Like Johnny is kind of boring. To be honest, he is a boring character, and I just so she and she brings up stuff like the fact that like, oh, Johnny is so caring. Like, Johnny is so caring about the people in his life, so much so that he adopted Denny. That's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
You should love him for that.
Right? Yeah. Well, that's the thing. She's constantly defending him, at the same time trying to justify why she wants to break up. Like, it's...
It doesn't make
Throughout the entire movie, she goes back and forth, like, oh, he's such a good guy, he's so generous, and he's so nice, and, you know, and he does everything for me, and I want to leave him. What? Like, yeah, like, that's...
Like, it doesn't make any sense. So, like, in a way, it does make sense. I wrote in here, in the very few notes that I took, because after a while, I just stopped taking notes. I was like, because this is an experience. I can't justify anything that happens in this movie. But the mom character, can I just say, Mom is over here spitting out hardcore truths. Like a good 55% of this movie, I was kind of on the mom's corner. The first time I watched it, I was like, this mom is the worst mom. I can see where Lisa gets it. But watching it again, I was kind of like, the mom's kind of right. Like, in a lot of respects. Like, Johnny hasn't given her any reason to hate him. She just does. For, like, no for, like, no reason. You know, and then when, like, Denny gets busted for the drugs on the rooftop, and they have that crazy, everyone's freaking out.
Yeah.
And, like, Lisa screaming at Denny, like, why have you done this? What's happening to you? And, like, and the mom over here is just like, where did you get the drugs from?
Yeah.
Why are you selling drugs? I need some context.
Yeah.
And he's like, and Lisa's like, Mom, shut up. You shouldn't even be here right now. I'm like, but those are all very, like, those are normal questions.
Yeah.
That, like, a woman who's confused would be asking. Those are the questions I'm asking in my head.
Yeah, well, and I wanted to know, like, I didn't write very many notes. Like, that's all I wrote. Not very many notes. But one of the notes I wrote was, like, I want to know more about Denny's drug problem. Like, why does Denny need drugs? You know, why is he in this situation in the first place? Like, you know, but of course that would actually stick him in the movie, like, in, like, the story of the movie. It would give Danny a place in the movie, and it wouldn't make it nearly as ridiculous. Like, you know,
it would make him too interesting.
Yeah. So it would just be a normal movie if we actually figured that out. But the fact that we have this ridiculous scene where Danny is held at gunpoint on his own roof, you know, and like, and then
How did he get up?
they just
How,
wrestle
how
with
does
him.
that get up
I
there?
don't know. But then they just, like Tommy and Mark come and like wrestle this guy and like kick him out. And, like you don't even know if they called the cops or not. They just like kick him out and they're like, okay, job's done. We don't have to worry about that guy anymore. Like,
I mean, I'm
and
assuming that they called the cops because Denny later says to Lisa, like, it's okay. They called the cops. It's
mm-hmm.
gonna be okay.
Right,
So then in that case, okay, Denny is
yeah,
right. Now he should be
then
freaking out.
right, but
But
they
before,
the fact that they just resolved the situation so fast without actually resolving the situation, which is Denny bought drugs. Why? Like, that's the situation. The problem isn't that Denny was being held at gunpoint. That's like a symptom of the problem. The problem is Denny bought drugs. Why? Why does he need drugs? Why is he associating with these bad people? If Johnny is his financial benefactor, why does he need to sell drugs? What's going on?
exactly. And
Like,
also, they all live in the same building. I'm
yeah.
assuming that Denny goes over there all the time uninvited because he has his own set of keys.
Mm-hmm.
So, also, wait, if Denny has his own apartment, how did the drug dealer know where to find him? How did the drug dealer just appear on the roof and was like, where's my money? Also, I did write down here, the drug dealer is the best actor in this movie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
First I said it was Mark, but then I was like, no, I have to give the drug dealer some props for at least doing what he's supposed to do.
Right.
Which is like, he's being intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying lines in an intimidating manner that is perceivably scary. He's doing his job.
Yeah.
I cannot say the same about any of the other characters in this movie. And a lot of that has to do with that writing, man.
Yeah.
But the delivery, I can't. My favorite thing is when the mom very morbidly says, well, I called my doctor. I definitely have breast cancer.
Yeah.
And then they have this whole conversation how she's like, nobody cares about me and I'm gonna die. But the way she says it, it reminds me of Love on a Leash with the mom from Love on a Leash.
Mm-hmm.
She would just like passively say really awful things to also, the names are both Lisa.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
So like, both of the moms are awful characters.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why parents in these movies are always like perceived to be the worst stereotypes of their people, of their person. It's just, oh my god, I definitely have breast cancer. And also, that's a lie. People definitely care about her because she and her daughter literally go shopping during this movie. It's not shown, but it's like, I mean, at least that's one healthy relationship. It looks like Lisa and her mom seem to get along fairly well. And the mom, honestly, is she's spitting out truths. She's like, you're not in a financial place right now to take care of yourself. I mean, maybe you're just having like an off period with Johnny where you don't, because when she's with him, they never like fight. That's another thing. Like, at the beginning of this movie, they only have positive interactions. Where they both seem very friendly and loving toward each other. And the relationship seems believable until all of a sudden it's not.
Yeah.
And she's like, all of a sudden she's like, well, actually, I just hate him. And it's like, really though?
Right.
Because that's not really what it.
Yeah. Well, also you wonder what does she really want in a relationship? She never really talks about that. She says that Johnny is boring and blah blah blah. But like, I don't know what you really want in a relationship.
Right?
Because
is Mark not boring?
Yeah, I mean it's not like, because a lot of times you like normally in movies it would like situations like this. It might be that like, oh well, he's lazy. He doesn't work. He just lopes around all day at home. And like, but that's not the case with Johnny. Johnny works very hard. He's trying to get a promotion. He's really like, he makes enough. He obviously makes some money, you know. So he's not. It's not a financial issue. It's not like a, you know, he's not a slob. Uh, he's, you know, in a very stable pot. It's not a sex issue, obviously. Like, it's not like Johnny is not sexually active and, you know, Lisa's not getting what she wants. Like, she's getting it, you know. That's pretty obvious. So that's not the issue either. So what does Lisa want? She never really says what she wants. She just says she's bored. But like, what
Right,
do you want? Yeah.
she always says what she doesn't want and what she doesn't like.
Mm-hmm.
But she never says specifically what she wants.
Yeah.
And also it would make, I guess it would make sense if maybe there were intimacy problems with Johnny,
Mm-hmm.
or like her comment about Johnny being boring. If like maybe they were just not growing together, it would make sense. And again, I'm not justifying cheating, but
Yeah.
it would sense for her to go looking for that in another person or activity. But she's not shown having any other hobbies. I don't even know where she works. I wrote down like the computer business. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
So she doesn't have any other hobbies. And she goes looking for all of those things, I'm assuming in Mark, but Mark is no more interesting than Johnny.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, he's younger, and I guess he's technically more attractive, but he's not better in bed
Mm-hmm.
than John. Like, he doesn't bring her flowers.
Yeah.
He's very actively tells her multiple times, I can't do this. Johnny's my best friend. Like,
Mhm.
we could ever forget that.
Yeah.
Johnny is 100 is my best friend. He tells her multiple times he can't do it, and she still coerces him.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what her deal is.
Yeah.
I feel like they
Well, that's
wrote
the
her to
thing.
just
It's
evil.
just self-destructive. She's just. I don't even know if she realizes, like, but it really, like, there's no way it could end well. Like, just nothing. Like, you know. But
I can't
and then
even
even after Johnny killed himself, she was like, "Okay, Mark, like, this is our chance. There's nothing holding us back anymore." I was like, "Are you serious?" Like, yeah.
What, you know what she reminds me of? She reminds me of Scarlett O'Hara in Gone with the Wind. If you've ever seen Gone with the Wind, it's
Yeah.
quite a long. But Scarlett O'Hara is a lot like that. But a lot of it has to do with the fact that she's incredibly self-absorbed due to the environment that she grew up in as like a Southern belle,
Mm-hmm.
and that like and she's so insecure that she comes across that she like to counteract her insecurities, she comes across as this like very seductive and yet simultaneously intriguing, innocent sort of person. And she pursues the fiance of her sister, like for years, Kevin,
Mm-hmm.
in this movie. She's like obsessed with him. She's like, Ashley's the only one for me. Like, Ashley and I are meant to be. Like, even when, like, there are other guys lined up at the door being like, I can treat you well. You just have to, like, here, let's just, like, get together. She's like, no, Ashley is the one for me. And she's like, and I will stop at nothing to just get Ashley. But we can understand kind of where she's absolutely vindictive and kind of awful, but you can understand where she's coming from, and she faces consequences for it too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, but that's what Lisa reminds me of. She's like this kind of vindictive, manipulative, evil person, but without any of the depth of Scarlett O'Hara. So it's just like the stock. It's like a vengeable dude. It's like Tommy Wiseau was broken up with. I wonder if that's what happened. If like he got his heart broken
Mm-hmm.
by a girl before he wrote the script, and he's like, I'm gonna write her covertly into the script and make her just like void of any depth of a real person and just make her evil.
Yeah.
She's just gonna be evil. She's just gonna do things randomly because she wants to. Actually, Lisa does say a line in there where she's like, what is it? I think it's a conversation with her friend, I think, where the friend is like, you're like engaged to one person, but you're like in love with another person. How does that work? And she's like, well, I do what I want.
Yeah.
So,
Uh,
well, it's like, well, what do you want?
right.
What do you
Yeah.
want? I just like, it's very rare that you find wild Lisas in the wild.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
I've only met a handful of people that are manipulative like that, and I have not enjoyed being in their presence
Mm-mm.
because it's confusing
Yeah.
as heck. Um, I don't know. I don't know what the motive is. But yeah, Lisa's awful, hate it. Mark is kind of like, I also don't know what Mark's deal is. He's kind of a pushover, but
Mhm. I don't. I feel like Mark is a victim in this whole thing. Like he's the he is manipulative. You know, he's very manipulative. You know, he does whatever Lisa's. He's always like, Lisa, we can't do this, and then like immediately does it. Like it's.
like, but you're too sexy and I can't
I
resist.
know. And then afterwards, she's like, I hate you. You suck. And she's like, I
You
don't care.
made me like
You
what
made
you
me
made
do this.
me do.
Yeah. You know, it's, yeah. So, yeah. So here's one thing. This movie, one thing that actually reflects reality very well. Um, it perfectly captures how awkward the Happy Birthday song is. Like, perfectly. When, like, seeing Tommy's reaction, I'm like, that is it. That is reality right there. When, like, immediately, when people start saying happy birthday to him, he's like, okay, okay. Like, immediately. He's just like, I get it, it's my birthday, you got me, okay, okay, okay. Like, all people are singing happy birthday to him.
Mhm.
I hate that song. That like when people sing happy birthday. I don't know if you find it awkward when people sing happy birthday to you. When you're like, what am I supposed to do right now? Like I just stand here and let people sing to me. Like what? I I hate it, and I don't know how you feel about it when people sing happy
So
birthday.
I'm normally okay with happy birthday,
I
to be honest.
when people sing to you, are you also okay with it?
It depends on where we are. If it's in a public place, I get a little.
But in like a situation such as the room when you're, you know, it's kind of a you're in your have a private birthday party in your house. You know, it's okay.
I think I'd be okay with it. It's it's always better when something is being presented along with
Mm-hmm.
the happy birthday
Yeah.
song. And if you were to stand, I don't know though, because like I made my choir kids do that when I was student teaching.
Mm-hmm.
Like when it was somebody's birthday, I made them get up on a chair. Like the birthday
Oh
kid
my
would stand up
gosh.
on the chair and then we would serenade them.
Mm. I would hate that. I really don't like it when people sing happy birthday to me. I actually uh so for the past 5 years I have not had a birthday party. I have never told anybody when my birthday is, and nobody knows when it's my birthday for the past five
Are you
years.
sure? Let me
And
show
because
you.
just
Yeah.
because of how much I don't like people singing happy birthday. That's the yeah for the I just
Yeah,
to
no, no, no.
avoid the uh, spontaneous birthday surprise birthday parties. I you know it's yeah. I'm not into it.
See, okay, okay. But what if you just told people, I really, really don't want you to sing happy birthday to me, and just say, like, childhood trauma dictates that you cannot sing happy birthday to me or I will hate you, and we just won't sing happy birthday to you. At
That
least I'm
doesn't work.
not
But
done.
then now I'm that weirdo who doesn't want a happy birthday. Like I people are.
You're not alone, though. You're not alone. Like, I don't know. I like feeling a little special when people sing to me, but
Mm-hmm.
also I just like when people sing to me in general because I'm a musician. So it's different for me. But you're
I
not alone. There are tons of people all over the place who hate happy birthday.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or being hungry.
Right, and so that's why I really connected with that scene, with the birthday party scene in the room. It was like uh, Johnny's reaction to the Happy Birthday song. That is like exactly like it's perfect. Where like immediately he's like, okay, okay, we get it. It's my birthday. Okay, man, like it was like perfect. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. I'm like, okay, we get it. Enough. Like, okay. You don't have to finish the song. I feel like the birthday song is like, I don't know, how long is the birthday song? Like 30 seconds?
20 seconds.
20 seconds? It is
The
18.
perfect hand washing song.
Okay, so like 20 seconds, it is 18 seconds too long. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
So back to the
Oh.
room. I don't know. Is there anything else you want to talk about with the room? Because like that was the thing. I was like, what are we really going to talk about? Because like the room, I feel like it's that kind of movie that would be good for Cine-Picks, except for the fact that like we already know everything about it. Like, so here's the thing here's the thing I find most interesting about the room, that's different from other movies similar to it. You know, similar because you always compare the room to like Love on the Leash and other like super low budget crappy movies. The thing that makes the room interesting is that it's not really a low budget movie. It could be. It could very well be a very low budget movie, but it's not. The production value is really high, and also like especially now that we have the disaster artist, we can see that like they did not take the easy way out when making this movie. They could have just filmed it in their own apartment. A lot of movies do that. You know, they're like, this is our apartment. You know, we're going to just film the movie in our apartment because we have access to it. It's free, you know, and it's easy. And we'll just use our friends as actors. It's super easy, or whatever, you know, or just. But they actually like, you know, they did casting. They did. They filmed most of the stuff on sound stages. They built a lot of the sets. They filmed in both digital and film, which is like, why would you do that for an indie film? Like, pick one. That's why the lighting is kind of weird, because when you film for digital or film, it's two different. They capture the light differently, and so you have to light it differently if you're filming for digital, whether it's you're filming for film. And so they had to light all the sets for both film and digital, and that's why the lighting's weird. It's an awkward, weird lighting.
Yeah. I'm assuming that's why also there's like weird CGI'd, like really obviously green screen effects in there.
No, well, that's another thing that's
They
weird.
could have just filmed on an actual roof.
Yeah.
But instead they're like, no, let's film on a soundstage and then just CGI a city in the background.
Yeah, and so like that's the thing, like, because normally in a low budget indie film you would just find a roof, and we're like, we have a roof, we have free access to it, it's a free location, we don't have to pay to shoot here, and we'll just film on the roof. But they're like, no, let's build a roof set with green screen, a massive green screen that goes around the whole set, and we'll film on that instead. Like, you know, like they did not take the easy way out. Like Tommy Russo, you know, as in the Disaster Artist, he says like, no, we're making a real movie. Let's make a real movie. It's like, even real movies film on location. You know, like obviously he doesn't know how real movies are made, but so
Right.
he
Didn't
picked
rent any of his own equipment. He bought all of the equipment.
He also he bought everything. Also, like the alley set, like he built a set on the soundstage that looks like an alley instead of going to an alley. Like it's so that it's so. But that's the thing, is because of all of this, they had to build everything, and it became more expensive. The budget became more expensive, and that's kind of like the legend and mystery of Tommy Wiseau, of like, where does he get his money from? Because obviously, like, money was not an issue when making this movie, and so that's, you know, there's kind of like the mythology of Tommy Wiseau, like where does his money come from? Why, you know, why was he able to do all of this? you know, like,
Yeah.
so that's the that's the thing. I think production wise, it's the most interesting. That makes it unique. This is what makes it that separates it from other like cult movies. Also, so I know that this movie is on like all of the worst movie ever lists. I really don't think it's that bad of a movie. Like even
Right.
like in general, it's not that bad. It's you
Right.
know
Like watching it a second time,
yeah
I think if it weren't for the weird love scenes, and I actually wrote most of them down, and I wrote the timestamp
hmm
that they happened at. Most of them last anywhere between 2 full minutes to like 4 minutes. I think the
yeah.
longest
I
was that
actually
one in the beginning.
I actually started
Four.
skipping. I started skipping the sex scenes. Like I watched the first one because I know that's the most famous one, and so I watched that one. But then all the other, it's like it's the same thing every time. The same
Yeah.
music, the same camera angles, the same. So I'm like, so I actually skipped the last two. Like so I watched the one with Tommy and then the one with Mark and then the other two sex scenes. I was like, nah,
Yeah.
I've seen it. You know,
Oh.
it's so those were the ones that I actually skipped. I was like, yeah, it's just not. But so, but when it comes to the movie being bad, like the thing when I think of a bad movie, I think of like bad pacing, uh, like boring movies, uh, like yeah, just it things that just make it not enjoyable to watch. This movie, I had no problem sitting through the whole thing. It was entertaining all the way through. It's not bad. I would not call this movie bad at all. You know,
Right.
it's odd. It's very very odd. It's an odd movie. It's awkward. It's weird and it's strange. But it bad is not the word I would ever use to describe it. It's not a bad movie. You know.
It's its own branch of like I was watching some theory videos before we filmed this, and there are some film experts out there that have coined this term called paracinema. Um, this is one of those movies that falls into its own genre of movie because it's not technically bad. Because, like, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion, a bad movie is unwatchable.
Yeah.
Like, this is a movie that's so bad it's good.
Yeah.
Because if it were really truly bad, we would not be able to sit through it without falling asleep.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie is far from a falling asleep movie.
Yeah.
It's incompetent in a lot of ways, but
Yeah.
it's not unwatchable and it's still entertaining. And I actually did write down in my notes, I tried to write some of the positive things about this movie. I wrote, the music in the beginning in the opening credit sequence is actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
The opening credit sequence itself is pretty good. It's really 90s, but so is everything in that time period.
Yeah.
Also, I wrote the transitions also are not awful.
Cool.
They're not quick cuts.
Yeah.
There's no weird cinematography going on like there was with Love on a Leash.
Mm-hmm.
So the movie has that going for it. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't give me a headache. So, okay. One more thing before we stop talking about The Room.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it called The Room?
Yeah. I would think. Well, yeah, because I would think it might be the apartment would be a better name for it, right? Because it's not just a single room. I don't know. That's a valid
Right.
question. Why is it called The Room?
Right? But it's also not about a singular person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would even say, I feel like Johnny isn't even really the main, I feel like Johnny's not even really the main character. I feel like this is an ensemble
Yeah,
film.
for sure.
So you couldn't even call it Man.
Yeah.
Could you just call it, like, Friends?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Because I think it's a lot of
What's the
people.
room?
Yeah, well, because Johnny's apartment seems to be like the regular gathering place for a lot of different people, you know, and everybody seems to have free access to it.
Mhm.
So I would think that it would just be like, you know, the apartment because everybody it's the place where everybody gathers, everybody goes to the apartment. To Johnny's apartment. So maybe that's what it is, but I don't know. Or maybe it was something else before, like the name was already chosen, and then it was something, I don't know. Then something changed, like the story changed, but the title didn't. Like maybe that's something that happened. But really, like I'm trying to think. There's only one scene that does not take place in or around the apartment building, and that is when Johnny goes to the flower shop. I believe that's the only time we leave the apartment building. The rest of the time, I think it all takes place in or around the apartment building.
Okay, so I looked it up. The title alludes to the potential of a room to be the site of both good and bad events. The stage play from which the film is derived was so called due to its events taking place entirely in a single room. But obviously that didn't happen because
Yeah.
there's multiple rooms. And that one flower shop, also I took a note of that. I said that's one of the scenes in the movie that's unnecessary. It
Mm-hmm.
serves zero purpose.
Yeah.
Picking up
There's a lot of those, but that one, yeah, definitely. Like, it's, but like, I mean, that's the gold. That's the gold moment. Everybody talks about the flower shop scene. It's probably, I would say, probably one of the most famous scenes in the entire movie. It's because everything about it is so strange. Like, just every single choice, decision, and dialogue, delivering dialogue, acting, just everything is so weird. And so that's one of those where it's like, this has got to be made by an alien who observed people and decided to try to reenact a human interaction, and like that's the flower shop scene. Like it's and so
You're my favorite
even
customer. I didn't recognize you. You didn't recognize him? Really?
it looks the same as he always looks. But yeah, no. So that's the. So although it doesn't belong, it's unnecessary. I'm glad it was there. It's.
Right.
I think it's crucial to the mythos of the room. So.
So I guess the big question then is, if you could give this a ranking,
Mm-hmm.
what score would you give The Room?
So I like these kinds of movies, and I feel like, and the thing is, this movie is so genuine. There's lots of people who try to make movies like this. The thing that makes this movie magical is the fact that it's so genuine. It was, the comedy was completely unintentional, but but like, and so that's what I think where the magic comes from, because there's lots of people make bad movies intentionally. Like Sharknado. Sharknado isn't intended to be a serious movie. And so it has that cheese ball, and so it's. But, and also, I think Sharknado is a worse movie than this. I think Sharknado is more unwatchable than The Room. So, yeah.
Right.
So the fact, yeah, Love on the Leash. Yeah, well, Love on the, that's another one where it's genuine. They were trying to do something, and they just made a weird movie. But anyways, if I were to give The Room a rating, I would have to say a 7 out of 10. And that's not like this category of movie is a 7 out of 10. I say, like, just in general. Like, that's how I feel about the movie. It's a 7 out of 10. That's. Yeah. So, yeah, what about you?
So it's funny that you said 7 out of 10, because that's exactly what I was going to give this movie to.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we're both in agreement, because, like, it's not the best. It's not even average. Like, it's not even a C+ movie.
Yeah.
Or a C- movie.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, it could be worse. Mm-hmm. It could be more unwatchable. It's hard to give an overall general score when there's
Yeah.
so many individual things about the movie. But I say 7 out of 10 as well.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, yeah, because I was interested how we were going to talk about this movie. And so I'm glad that there was stuff to talk about still, you know.
Right? I feel like this would have been, and like watching it back, I was like, dang, this one would have been good for like a live commentary.
Yeah.
You
Right? And
know?
I feel like that's how, it's probably the best way. Well, you know. But I'm glad, now I can finally say that I have seen The Room. And I probably would never have actually sat down and watched The Room if you didn't request it for me. So thank you.
Right? Because it's like you basically already seen it because you've heard so much about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So why watch it again? But I'm still glad that you did it on my behalf. And I don't think it would be awful if we actually did do a live commentary on it, even though we've already reviewed it.
Right, yeah.
Because, like, this is a movie that's hard to surmise because it's like moment by moment. There's something in every single moment that's just awkward.
Yeah.
Just the whole film is really awkward. It's a mood.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have another Cinepick coming up, and this time it is your turn.
Oh, yeah.
So, yes. Have you given any thought?
Yes, I've got it. I've got one for you.
What my pick is for this week?
Okay.
Next week.
So next week, my Cinepick for you is the classic Japanese fantasy horror film House, or Hausu. I think that's how they pronounce it. But yeah, this is another. It's a cult film. It's very very interesting. I think I don't know. I'm not gonna say you enjoy it or not because I don't know. But I think you will. Yeah, I'm excited to see your reaction. Regardless, House. That is your the Japanese version of House. So yeah. So there we go.
Yay! Well, I'm excited. I have no idea what it's about, or even how to pronounce it, but that's
Get
okay.
ready.
My brain is semi-ready.
All right. Yeah, I feel like I don't want to say too much. I just want you to just experience it. Okay.
I'm pumped.
And I think maybe watch it. I would suggest watching it with friends. I've never watched it with friends, but I think it would be a good.
Thanks, all you Cinepickers, so much for watching. This has been Kevin and Michaela coming at you with The Room by Tommy Wiseau. Make sure to like or hit that subscribe button and comment down below for any movies that you want to see us give a Cinepick rating to. Bye!
Bye!